Welcome to Stories from the Village of Nothing Much. Like easy listening, but for fiction. I'm Kathryn Nicolai. I write and read all the stories you'll hear on the Village of Nothing Much. Audio engineering and sound design is by Bob Wittersheim. In our show notes, you'll find links to our ad-free premium version, our other shows, and our merch and partner products. Welcome back, walking buddy. Thanks for coming to spend some time with me. And I know I'm just a stranger on the internet, but I hope you'll feel how genuinely glad I am that you are here. You know when you were a kid and your friend from school came over to your house for the first time and you wanted to show them all the stuff in your room? That's kind of what this is. Over the last 7 years, between this show and my bedtime story podcast, Nothing Much Happens, I've built a calm village where kindness is commonplace and there is time to just step back and enjoy little bits of ordinary life. And this usually shows up as short, easy-to-listen-to stories. But on the first Monday of the month, we go on a walking tour to one of the beloved spots in the village. You don't need to be walking as you listen, though that can be a really lovely way to take it in. I just encourage you to let your imagination play and wander. Today's tour is part 2 of our tour of the inn. And if you haven't heard part 1 yet, you might want to go back a few episodes to listen to that first. Before we begin, let's take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh from your mouth. Again, breathe in and sigh it out. Good. The Inn, Part 2. Hi, thanks for meeting me back out here. Look how much the trees have filled in just the last month. It seemed like everything was fully leafed out at the beginning of May, but now, this is proper summer, and the inn looks busy today. We ended our tour last time by the lake, on that old dark green bench where the innkeeper drinks her morning coffee before the guests get up. Let's start today. Let's circle around the outside of the inn. We'll walk through the gardens and then sneak down into the basement. Sound good? Okay, let's go this way, around the far side of the inn where the hammocks are stretched out under the trees. There are actually a few smaller gardens in this area that I've never gotten to spend too much time in. I asked the innkeeper once how far the property goes, and she said that sycamore tree way over there is the marker. In between here and there are probably a good 100 yards of grasses and paths. Let's just pick one. I think they all kind of wind back to here. It looks like the paths have just been worn down by people and probably animals too, walking along them rather than set down with gravel or mulch. I kind of like that. Have you ever heard of desire paths? Some people call them bootleg trails. It means a path worn down by people or animals seeking a shortcut. Like, there might be a sidewalk from the street to the front door of the library, but a lot of people park in the side lot and just walk through the grass to the door, and eventually that becomes a worn down common path. Yeah, you've seen the one at the library? Yeah, I thought so. It says something about how when design doesn't fit quite right, when it tries to prescribe rather than describe, people rebel. We find a way to get to where we want to be. I imagine these paths are just that. Deer or foxes, squirrels, and people travel across the yard here and naturally pick routes that feel intuitive and easy. This one looks like it's heading straight over to the old sycamore tree. Now, this is a famous tree locally. Of course, it was the home and namesake to the kitty who lives in the inn. He was hanging out on this big branch here, taking shelter in the knot just above it, till a friend of the innkeeper found him there and carried him inside to meet his new person. But before that, and you can see part of it still, this old tree held a big treehouse in its arms. See those planks there? And a bit of siding? The treehouse was built way back when the inn was a school, which must have been about 100 years ago. The children who studied there lived on site, and I'm betting they knew more secret places in it and on the land here than anyone else. One springtime, the teachers organized this build to help bring mathematics to life. They had a few false starts, a branch that wasn't strong enough, a design that was too complex, but finally they built a sturdy platform with a trapdoor and a ladder. They added 2 walls of siding and strung a canvas shade over the top. And it stayed up there for a long time. The innkeeper told me that it was still there when she visited the inn as a child. But one summer, we'd had a series of storms, high winds and thunder and lightning for days. And one morning, the treehouse was just gone. A few pieces remained, but most of it was blown away by the winds. There's been talk a few times over the years about rebuilding it as a part of local history, but it coming apart is its history too. I don't know what I think about it. I'd like to see the view of the lake and the inn from up there, but there's something melancholy about this old tree. Maybe even a little spooky. I mean, we found a black cat on Halloween in it. It does seem fitting that we leave the treehouse as it is, like a shipwreck that you honor by not trying to raise it from the lake bottom. There is a local tale that if you come out on a moonless night and stand under the spot where the trapdoor used to be and look up at the branches in the dark, you'll hear the laughter of the school kids that built it. Yeah, I'm up for it if you are. I'm not coming alone, but if you want to come, I'm your huckleberry. Maybe we can talk the innkeeper into having a little spooky autumn dinner party. Chef cooks up some pumpkin-themed dishes, and then we all troop out to the sycamore tree with shaking flashlights and take turns under the trapdoor. It's easy to talk bravely about it on a warm summer day like today, right? Let's keep going. How about we take this path? I think it'll take us over to the hammocks. There are wildflowers growing all over this area. There are purple digitalis and oxeye daisies, bee orchids and knapweed and buttercups, and lots of seagrass that has already grown up pretty high for it just being June. I bet by the end of the season, you could have a real Elizabeth Bennet in the lake country moment here. You know, a big floppy hat, and you stare off into the breeze as the lake stretches out beneath you, and you look contemplative and half in love. You haven't done that? I don't believe you. It looks like there are a few people taking naps in the hammocks. Let's scoot by as quietly as we can. Oh, I think I dropped my little notepad. What, you think I know all this by heart? I keep notes. Oh, I see it. It's over there. I'll catch up with you in a second. I'll meet you by the back porch steps, okay? Hey, yeah, here it is. And I picked one of those daisies and pressed it into the pages. Couldn't help myself. You know, this time of day after lunch service, and while the sun is high and the day is hot, I bet this is a good time to sneak down into the kitchens. Chef is probably taking a rest, and it'll be nice and cool down there. Now just act natural. Follow me back up onto the porch. I'll go through the screen door and into the house. The basement is down here. So a lot of fancy old houses had their kitchens in the basement. It was a way to dedicate lots of space to the kitchen, which they definitely needed, all this space to cook for lots of people, but also to keep it out of view when they entertained. And I think Chef actually likes the privacy down here. And yeah, it doesn't really feel like a basement. I don't think anyway. The house was built before this area had electricity, so it had to have these long windows and be dug out a bit. And on the side, you can walk right out to the gardens. The kitchen is big, several long prep areas, one with a marble top for making pastries, and this jewel of a sink. I am a sucker for a sink. I think last time we talked, I talked about how front doors feel very important to me. They kind of show the personality of the house. Well, sinks can hold the soul of one. So much day-to-day living happens right here. Food prepared, dishes washed, vegetables have the soil rinsed off of them. You lean against them while you sip coffee and think about what to have for dinner. A burned finger is cooled, a midnight glass of water filled. I mean, think about all the living that's happened right here. Sorry. Not sure what kind of nerding out this is. Quotidian domestic, maybe? I just love spaces where daily life builds up and leaves a mark. Okay, besides the kitchen, which also has a friendly round table in it where the staff stops to eat at times, there's a large pantry, and that is a real treasure, says the girl who just lost her cool over a sink. But really, it's well organized, it's full, and it's just smart. Like, this section is for vegetables. There are bins of potatoes and onions. And see the way they are built like baskets with lots of room for the air to circulate? That helps keep everything fresh for the whole year. Chef grows garlic, and these racks pull out, see? And instead of a wooden shelf, it's a mesh screen. So they can dry and they can be stored right here. Or over here, Chef has braided together a bunch of garlic heads and hangs them from the hooks in the ceiling. There's dried peppers, tons of herbs. It smells like oregano and thyme and lavender. There are more bins of other dry goods, flour and oats, rice and lentils, dried fruits and nuts, breadcrumbs and granola. And over here, this is a whole section of, drum roll please, pickles. I think pickles can be a polarizing subject. People tend to have very strong feelings one way or the other, especially when you talk about sweet versus dill. Whew. I am a pickle lover, mostly dill, mostly cucumber, but I will also be happy to have some spicy carrot pickles, some jardinera, some dilly beans, and yes, some bread and butter pickles. Listen, I didn't think I liked sweet pickles either, but then I had Chef's. They are that good. Gosh, my mouth is watering. Now, here is a true insider's tip. Chef says they don't sell these pickles. According to them, they're made for the inn and eaten by guests here. They're not for sale. But there is one store It's a little corner grocery in town. The one with the really great selection of sodas and the really wild window displays. Do you know that one? Yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't know if Chef doesn't even know that they're there, who the source is. I don't ask questions. It is none of my business. But you can buy them there. Keep it under your hat. If I go in and all the pickles are gone because you posted it online or something, you're going to be in big trouble, okay? Okay. So, not stealing any pickles. We can go buy some later. Before we leave, let me show you one more thing. One of my favorite things in the inn. It's right over here beside the staircase. It's a dumbwaiter. Sometimes I've heard it called a roll cage lift. But it's basically a little elevator for food. When you think about it, it seems obvious that a house this big would sort of have to have a system to move hot food quickly up to the dining room, right? Especially if it needs to go all the way to the second floor where the ballroom is. So please allow me to demonstrate. Also, I've wanted to play with this thing for ages. I will open up these doors. Inside there's a second set of doors. This is where the cage part comes in. They look like an old-fashioned elevator door that was that kind of sliding cage. They come together in the center and hook to latch. I'll put my little notebook in here and close it all up. Originally, this would have worked manually with a pulley system that you would have literally pulled, but when they restored it, they added in a motor. So we'll just push a button and send it up. Let's send it all the way to the second floor. Oh, I love the rumbling in the walls that you can hear. We'll follow it up the stairs, and I just want to show you where it is on the first floor before we head up to the second. So this hall cuts right through the inn from the back porch door to the front entryway. And here beside the butler's pantry is the dumbwaiter. So serving plates would come right from there and be carried into the dining room through there. There used to be a giant table in there that seated like 50 people, but since this is an inn and not a family home anymore, they've replaced them with smaller tables so people can sit in here on colder days to eat their meals. And I love the butler's pantry so much too. Come on in here. It's like the size of a large walk-in closet with all these glass-fronted cabinets where dishes are stored. There's a small sink and the coffee equipment. But it's just snug and nice. And when I can't find the innkeeper, she is often in here, sorting teacups or wiping down wine glasses. Now, up to the ballroom. Wait, there's so much I want to show you. I want us to take the front stairs, but first I want to show you the back stairs, right around the corner here. These would have been for the servants originally, to get around the house, but everyone uses them now. Still, they have this really cute feature on them. So this staircase is obviously less ornamental, more practical. But still, if you look in the corner of each step, you see those little brass triangles? They're called dust corners. When you're sweeping, little bits of dust and debris can get stuck in the corner, right? It's really hard to get it out. So these exist to sort of stop that from happening. You have to remember that this was built before vacuum cleaners were ubiquitous or had good suction wands. I love that they're still here. Remember when we went to the village museum and the back stairs led to a hidden room that wasn't visible from the front stairs? Well, luckily I recorded it, so if you don't remember, go back and listen. But now that we're here, I'm curious if this house has something similar. I'll tell you what, the front stairs, they're so beautiful. You go through the hall and up the front stairs, and I'll take these ones and I'll meet you outside the ballroom, and we'll see what we find. Do I sound a little disappointed? Yeah, nothing. I know this house has some secrets. We just haven't found them all yet. We will keep looking. Okay, well, welcome to the ballroom. It's right behind these beautiful old walnut double doors. But before we go in, I want to retrieve my notebook. The dumbwaiter is right over here. And if you want to carefully lean over the railing, you can see the stairs wrapped around the house a bit. So we are right above the center hall now. Let me just open the doors and the cage. Got my notebook. I better close it all up and send it back to the kitchen before I get caught playing around with this stuff. Okay, the ballroom is original to the house. My house does not have a ballroom. Does yours? Yeah, most people exist sans ballrooms, and I guess that they are pretty unpractical in the 21st century. But let me just open these doors, and we can just pretend that this is our normal life. It's big, right? Kind of echoey. The floors are this really pretty parquet pattern, and the room is long and lined with windows on either side. I've been in this room when it's bare, when they put away all the tables and you can turn cartwheels down the length of it. And I've been here when they have a big event that involves food more than dancing. And there are many, many tables in here. Now it looks like it's set up for a bit of both, an open space to dance in and some tables to sit at. Often in the summer, they have local bands come to play, and guests as well as villagers are invited for a dance. They have smaller tables and benches set out, and a long table for cold drinks, maybe some finger food, whatever chef comes up with. It's really fun. Wait, what if they did a pickle dance? Like all the best pickles, music. But now that I think about it, being cheek to cheek with someone, plus that amount of garlic and vinegar, yeah, it's probably not my best idea. Scratch that. Back here at the end of the ballroom is a small dais, a stage really, where the band's set up. There was a wedding here a few Septembers ago, and I still remember how beautiful this room looked that night. The sun set over the lake, and it reflected up onto the walls in here, and it made everything glow orange and red. Then, once it was dark out, the tables in here were lined with candles. And 1 or 2 candles, I have that in my living room any Tuesday night, but there were like 100 candles, and it made it feel so magical in here. We ate, and we danced till late, and I remember, this part was nice. Instead of sending you home with some Jordan almonds that you'll forget are in the bottom of your purse for 3 months, they sent you with a small takeout container with a late night snack chef had made and a small cupcake, the same flavors as the wedding cake. It was genius. I remember standing barefoot beside my kitchen sink, looking out at the moon and thinking how lovely the wedding had been and eating that cupcake and just being so happy. See? Another kitchen sink moment. What did I just kick? Was that? Oh, it was one of Sycamore's stuffed mice. I wonder where he is. Let's see if we can tempt him to come out and play. Let's go back toward the landing. He might hear us if he's above or below from here. Sycamore, where are you? Sycamore. Oh, he's up on the next landing. Let's climb up and meet him. Hey, Sicky. I've got your mouse, buddy. Here you go. You want me to toss it? Okay, I'll toss it down the hall. I don't think cats fetch, really, but let's see. Well, he did run after it, but I don't think he's going to bring it back to me. This floor is all guest rooms and the innkeeper's rooms. There are 2 main halls with rooms off of each one, and they look out either at the lake or over the front of the inn where the Circle Drive is. It's so quiet up here. I wonder if guests are napping in their rooms. There's a window just opposite the stairs, and you can look down at the lake from there. Well, there's a few boats out on the water. And you see that person? They pulled in their oars, and it looks like they've just laid back and relaxed. It's not a bad idea. After all these stairs, what do you think about a little sit on the sleeping porch? It's on the 2nd floor, and there are some wicker lounges. We can put our feet up for a bit. I want to make some notes in my book. And if we let our eyes close till they ring the bell for cocktail hour, that wouldn't be so bad, would it? We can decide where we want to go next month. I have some ideas, but I want to hear what you're thinking. And it's all screened in, so Sycamore can come with us. Come on, I'll show you the way.